Welcome to Deadzone Rogue, a game that throws you into a busted space station, hands you a gun and says, good luck, don't burn my oil. This roguelike FPS is built around fast runs, chaotic firefights, and the kind of loot that keeps dragging you back for just one more drop in the fryer. This is Checkpoint Dunion, where every game gets a taste test, and today, we're trading sword and spell builds for shotguns, sci-fi corridors, and a whole lot of things trying to kill us at once. Deadzone Rogue takes that roguelike formula and slaps it straight into a first person, including short runs, constant upgrades, and enough enemy pressure to keep the heat cranked at all times. Not here to tell a long story, but it's here to test how well you can adapt when the oil gets hot. So load the mag and keep moving, but don't get too comfortable, because in Deadzone Rogue, standing still is how you get burnt. Deadzone Rogue lives and dies by how good it feels to pull the trigger, and thankfully this one comes out of the fryer crispy. Gunplay is tight, responsive, and immediately satisfying. Weapons have real weight if you're using a shotgun, or using a minigun, using a machine pistol where it feels like you're hitting with a pillowcase at times. Everything has impact to it, and the movement stays fast enough that you're constantly encouraged to keep the oil hot instead of hiding in a corner. The core classic loop is roguelike cooking. You drop into the station, clear rooms, grab upgrades, get overwhelmed, jump back in for another batch, hopefully with a better recipe than the last time. Each run feeds you new augments or perks. This is where Deadzone really starts to season things properly. There aren't tiny stat sprinkles, they push you towards full builds, elemental damage, melee damage, weapon modifiers. When the perks line up, runs can go from barely holding together to an absolute freeze fire in the best way. Enemy pressure ramps up fast, forcing you to stay moving. Standing still is basically leaving the basket in the oil too long. You're going to get burnt. The game loves attacking from multiple angles, keeping the pace hot and the tension high throughout every run. Performance-wise, Deadzone Rogue holds up well even when the kitchen gets chaotic. There's a lot happening on the screen. Enemies, effects, projectiles flying everywhere, but readability stays solid. Never once have I ran into a major frame drop during heavy fights, and controls stay responsive even when things are fully frying. You can run solo or bring friends along, and while playing solo holds up just fine, co-op turns everything up another notch. Coordinating builds and perk synergies with teams turn an already hectic run to a full-on space station chaos. Overall, the gameplay loop is sharp, repeatable, and dangerously easy to keep throwing back into the fryer. Deadzone Rogue knows exactly what it wants to be, a fast, replayable FPS roguelike, and it delivers with confidence. Visually, Deadzone Rogue leads into its hard sci-fi setting and pulls it off. The space station environment's dark, industrial, and claustrophobic, the kind of place where you always feel like something is about to jump you from around the corner. It's not the most visually diverse game out there, but it knows its lane and it sticks to it. Enemy design is clear and readable, which matters a lot when the fryer is fully cranked. Even in rooms are packed with enemies, projectiles, and effects, you can usually tell what's trying to kill you and from where. Visual effects get flashy when builds start to pop off, but they rarely cross the line into unreadable chaos, except for one underneath the frost tree, which causes a blizzard and kind of blurs a little bit if you have helium canister. That said, some environments can start to blur together over longer sessions. After a few runs, certain rooms start to feel familiar, a little too quick. Not deal breaker, but it is noticeable, especially when you're bouncing between runs back to back. On the audio side, Deadzone Rogue does a solid job keeping the adrenaline up. The gun sounds feel exactly how they should. The hit registration does give you a very notable cue, and the enemies don't really have much of an audio cue, but you can definitely hear what they're shooting, and that's a pretty nice job. It's a really nice warning when things are getting ready to boil over. You're rarely caught off guard because the game failed to communicate. When you get burned, it's usually your fault. The soundtrack stays mostly in the background, pushing tension rather than demanding attention. It ramps up nicely during combat, but knows when to step back, letting the sound effects do most of the work. It's functional, effective, and it fits the pace of the game extremely well. Overall, Deadzone Rogue looks and sounds exactly like it should. Not trying to be this flashy fine dining, it's fast and hot, built to keep the action moving, and the presentation supports the gameplay without getting in the way. And that's exactly what you want when everything is in the fryer popping at once. Deadzone Rogue is a fast-focused roguelike FPS that knows exactly what it's serving. The gunplay is crisp, the augmented perk system keeps every run feeling fresh, and the moment-to-moment action stays hot without turning into unreadable chaos. When the build clicks, the game absolutely sings. It's not perfect. Environments can start to blur together over time. If you're looking for a deep story or long-term progression systems, this isn't trying to be that kind of experience. Deadzone Rogue is about quick drops, smart decisions, and seeing how long you can survive before the oil gets too hot. As a pick up and play roguelike shooter, it delivers where it matters most. Easy to jump into, hard to put down, and dangerously good at convincing you to run it back one more time. For me, Deadzone Rogue earns 8 out of 10 onion rings. It's crispy, it's satisfying, and knows when to get out of its own way. This is Checkpoint Dunion, where every game gets a taste test. Let me know what should be in the fryer next, and I'll see you in the next one.